Nothing is more frustrating than getting to Sunday night only to realize that your math centers aren't ready to go for the week ahead, and you're left scrambling to get something together for your small group instruction. In today's episode, I'm going to share with you 3 tips for prepping your math centers that will save you time and have you kissing those Sunday night blues goodbye. Stay tuned. What's kicking, educational rock stars? Welcome back to another episode of Teaching Made Easy. I'm the Center Fairy, your ultimate source into the wonderful world of simple classroom systems that actually work so that you can finally get back to what you love, teaching. If this is your first time joining me here on the channel, be sure you hit that like and that subscribe button and click that bell so that you get notified when I go live or upload a new video here on the channel. Listen, the Sunday night blues are real and every teacher has experienced them. You leave your class on Friday, dead on your feet and just ready to get home so that you can take a bubble bath, maybe enjoy an adult beverage before collapsing into your bed for some much needed rest. Perhaps you're spending the weekend with your family and friends, not even thinking about school, as you should, but then Sunday hits and the reality sets in that there's another week ahead, and then you remember, oh crap, my math centers aren't ready. Now, I could say that this has never happened to me because I have all my ducks in a row. They're more like squirrels and they run around in circles. The reality is, every teacher has been there, including me. But there are a few things that I've learned that have helped me finally say goodbye to the Sunday night blues and leave on Friday knowing that my math centers were ready to go for the following week. Now, tip number 1 is to make a plan. That is foolproof. Writing lesson plans was one thing that I dreaded, mainly because the best laid plans were always upended by assemblies, fire drills, or even the dreaded lesson that just didn't go as planned, and it had to be repeated. The biggest change that I made in my math center's planning process was that I stopped trying to make my math centers align with my current lesson plans. In fact, one of the most important parts of my Easy Centers framework is clarity. And when I discovered that aligning my centers with what I was currently teaching was actually hindering my students from being successful in centers, I began planning my centers around what I had taught at least 2 weeks prior in my classroom. Centers are supposed to be review, and it's kind of hard for students to review what you're currently teaching until they've actually had time to learn it. First from you, then with you. Only then are they ready to truly do it independently as review in centers. The bonus of discovering this and changing my approach was that prepping my centers was simple. My lesson plans were already done because they were from 2 weeks ago. And even if a lesson had failed or had been interrupted because of an assembly or drill, that was noted in my plans. And I had already had time to make up the lesson before it went into centers. This meant that on Friday afternoons, I pulled my lesson plans from 2 weeks ago, grabbed center activities that matched those skills, and got them all ready for the following week. Now, tip number 2 is to prep a month ahead or more. Once I had my center planning system down, I knew it was only going to work if I had activities ready to go to pull from. They had to be printed, laminated, cut, and ready to go when I was setting them up on Friday afternoons. In order to do this, I had to have centers that were easy to prep and could be prepped a month or more in advance. Having centers that were low prep and required only a few materials was key as well. This is another key element in my Easy Centers framework: functionality. You have to have a ready supply of centers so you aren't spending all of your free time outside of the classroom searching for activities that your students can complete independently. Center activities like the ones found in our K-5 Math and Literacy Center bundles are low prep and perfect for the job. All you need to do is print them, laminate them if you wish, and cut them. I've even made the cutting part simple by using simple cut lines that can be cut with a paper cutter. There's no need to get carpal tunnel when you're prepping your centers. There are 2 volumes of our center bundles, one with holidays and one without holidays. And one of our volumes even includes a digital version for those days when you might not be teaching in person, or to use all of that technology that you now have access to in your classroom. With over 1,200 math centers for grades K through 5, you will not run out of centers to pull from, and prepping them is easy to accomplish in only a few hours a month. I like to choose one day a month to stay later and prep all my centers for the following month. It usually only took me about an hour and a half. Then I could send them home with a parent volunteer to be cut. Or if I needed to cut them myself, I could bring them home and just binge watch my favorite Netflix show and have pretty much an entire month cut in one episode. The best part is, after the first year, I had them all prepped and I didn't have to do this again. Having centers for multiple grade levels made it even easier to differentiate my centers, but that's a topic for another day. Now, tip number 3 is to organize your centers. It doesn't do you any good to have all this year's worth of centers planned and ready if you can't find the activities you need each month. This is why I like to store my centers according to the approximate month that I would be using them. I say approximate because we know that each group of students is different, and sometimes we need to slow down or accelerate our teaching. But having them in the approximate month that I would be using them meant that on Friday afternoons, I simply pulled the box for that month, packed up the centers that had been used that week, put them in their box so that I knew where they were, and grabbed the centers that I needed for that next week. Easy peasy. This process took me all of about 15 minutes at the end of the week before leaving for the weekend, and that meant I could take my weekend and relax as it should be. To help you get your math centers organized for the upcoming school year, I've created my free guide to organizing your math and literacy centers that you can grab by clicking the link in the description. This guide gives you a step-by-step easy way to organize your math centers along with some of my favorite simple tools to get the job done. I even added some cute labels so that your containers can easily be seen which boxes for which month. Just click the link in the description to get this free guide and get started. Now, these are just a few of the ways that I have made prepping my math centers a breeze. These tips help save me time each week, and they meant that the Sunday night blues were something that I could ditch for good. And you can too. Now, if you're looking for more tips, strategies, and simple systems to take back into your classroom to make your teacher life easier, check out the videos on your screen. Thanks for watching. XOXO. Keep being an educational rock star.